Hey. You guys know I had to play this song, right? Alright, let me let some folks get in. It's got some profanity, so I won't play it for too long. We are talking about boss budgets. So, this is actually... Hi! This is actually a hot topic. Believe it or not, I talk about credit, but most of my clients this year have been on debt payoff plans and helping them to budget. And when I always talk about credit transformations, you can't have any type of credit transformation without learning how to properly manage the financial resources coming into your life. Hey, after hours. So just to introduce me, thank you so much for the hearts. I'm Nativa, the Frugal CrediTnista, certified credit counselor, personal finance coach, and owner of MNHCreditSolutions.com, where credit transformations happen. So we teach you how to destroy your debts, grow your money, and soar your credit scores. Thank you so much for sharing. If anybody else feels that this info would be useful to their followers, definitely hit on security right down there and let some folks in from Virginia. Hi, how are you? Good stuff. My best friend moved to Virginia and left me. She left me, you guys. She left me. But she's doing well down there, so I'm really happy. She got a very nice bonus. We got some credit things going on. That's actually how I got to going to group sessions, by doing it with my girls. So, but anyhow, let's go ahead and thank you so much, Natasha, and talk about boss budgets. I like to get right into it. So what I'm going to do is tell you the mind trick that helped me first. Thank you so much. I want to go outside. I love that. I'm going to tell you what helped me, and then I'm going to break it down. So when I say boss budgets, that means you are the boss. You are, I'll take my last name, Herd Enterprises. So I wanted you to look at your last name, Jeter Inc., Campbell Enterprises, and realize that you are the boss of your household. That is your title. You are CEO. And if it's hi, little nuts mommy, hey, and you want to view your financial resources, your household, as your business. And it didn't dawn on me to do that until I was sitting in a business budgeting seminar some years back. And I said, wow, now wonder. My personal finances should be managed the exact same way. And by the way, hey to those on the replay. I always leave you guys to the end. So I promised myself I would say hi and thank you for watching in the beginning. So let's get to it. As always, I got my notes. I got to stay on track. So when you are the boss of your company, Herd Enterprises, Green Enterprises, hi, Miss Green, the main thing that you want is happiness and financial, to be profitable. Let me put it like this. Financial security, financial profitability. You want to be profitable. I used to say solvent, but solvent in some people's mind mean just getting by, and we way past them. So if you think about companies, they do bank on being profitable. If you've ever been in one of those financial meetings, all they are talking about is the finances. And if something isn't right with their finances, what do you experience? Green Enterprises, that's what I'm talking about. And that's mentally how you are and how you have to think about it. Because if you are a business, you have to be profitable in order to meet some of your other expenses, right? And if something is going amiss and you aren't profitable, the main thing that companies do when they start to lose money is what? And I'll let you guys answer that. What do companies do when their finances or their profits are being threatened, I should say? If they realize they're not quite making it, thank you. Cutbacks. You can call it downsizing. You can call it reorganization. And so that's what you sometimes have to do as you are looking over your financial picture, okay? Your financial statements, I'll call it, that's your budget. What do you have to do sometimes? You got to do some cutbacks. And so that's why, I usually get so much confusion because people think that budget is just so like tight hole. You say a budget, it's like cussing at somebody. But I want you to think about it a little differently. I'm going to break this down. Another thing that companies think about is how they can generate additional revenue streams. Right now, it's you and your mate, you and your partner, what have you. And this is your additional revenue stream, your talents, your skills, your gifts. So that's another thing that goes into budgeting. And then staying ahead of financial hiccups. I have never seen a successful company that did not have, we call them savings account, but an account where they can hop on opportunities so that they can generate additional revenue, even if it's done passively, invest in other assets so that they can, be more profitable. And so that's how you have to think about your own company. And I'm going to break this down to apply to us. So when we think about money, we should be thinking of money as a tool. And I'm sure we've heard this all the time. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. And so if we think about money being a tool, think about it this way. What is this? Okay, this is a tool. So if you see me doing this, you think I'm crazy, right? But if you are bringing money into your household and you haven't told it what to do, what to build, what to work on, that's exactly what you're doing. Those dollars are going everywhere. They're going everywhere. You got to focus those dollars. You got to focus them on what to build for you. What do you want with your money? What purpose do you want it to fulfill? The mere definition of a tool is to fulfill a certain function or purpose. And so as people, before they even start writing out anything, if anybody's ever worked with me on a budget, I've always told them, well, what are some of your goals? And I hit goals first because we're very goal oriented initially. So it's like, okay, well, I want a house. I just want to be debt free just to kind of, just to be it I'm supposed to be. I know I'm supposed to be married, so I want to be financially married, financially okay before I get married. And then I ask them, maybe not initially, because sometimes the whole budgeting process is a little stressful, so I have to take it in steps. But then I asked them, well, what does having that house mean to you inside? So establishing those values, that's intrinsic. That's the inside part, and it should be unique to you. A lot of times, we see what other people are doing, or we're reading all of these other financial professionals, and they're telling us what we should have at this age and how it should look. But our personal values are ours. That's why they're called personal values. So think about some of the things that you want, and it may start off with goals, and then ask yourself, why? Why do you want those things? So for me, by the time I really took, because I'm telling you, I've been in and out of debt and dealing with these budget things for a while, I didn't really get it until maybe around 2010, 2011. 2011 is when I had my final surgery with cervical cancer. I realized I was in deep doo-doo about 2008, 2009. I was like, I need to get my stuff together. Okay, this back and forth stuff is just not working. And so that's when I really took it seriously, and I had to figure out, what do I really want? And sometimes it starts off with what you don't want. I knew I didn't want to be in debt no more. I can tell you I didn't want to do that. I knew that I didn't want to feel that weight and that heaviness and that pressure. I wanted to be free. That's what freedom went to me. Hi, one source. And that's what freedom meant to me. That's my value. My value was to achieve financial security. And that looks totally different for me than it might look for you. Mine was debt free. I didn't want to owe anybody. So when I did have a point where I accumulated some cash, I went and I bought a house full of cash. And people like, hi. And people were like, oh, why didn't you put that on your student loans? No, I needed my own security. My security is for me. So I spent it where I felt I needed it at. So that may look different for you. So write in the box, what do you think your values are? And I have a list here just so you guys can get a clue of what the difference of a value and a goal is. Okay, so I mentioned some goals, a house, a car, what else? Not having to worry about debt. Like, those are goals. So values are family, security, maybe marriage, friends, creativity, peace of mind. You see, those are things that aren't necessarily money focused or financially focused, but we do need to be financially on point in order for that to come to fruition, right? So a big one for me is spending time with my friends and family, my loved ones. And also, obviously running a business is something that I intrinsically enjoy. And I don't want to work for anybody else anymore, ever. So I know in order to make that happen, then that means that I have to work hard in this business. So you see how you take that goal and then that value, and then you break it into goals. So the goals support the value. So if you are just going into, okay, let me create a budget. I have my income. I subtract my expenses. That's That's more money focus. You want to have your budget. That's why they call it a spending plan, because that plan focuses your dollars on the goal, which supports your value. Now, in most cases, the goals will change. Actually, once you accomplish the goal, or even when you midway, it's going to change. The goals change. Typically, the values do not. I have never met someone that says, I never want to spend time with any of my loved ones ever again. Or I don't value peace of mind. I want to stay stressed 24/7. But you may say, I no longer want a house. That's just not me. Okay, I'll give you an example. I completed a budgeting consultation with a young woman. We started talking, and first she's like, I really want a house. I want to do this. So, I went through the whole, budget, income, debt to income ratio, what price range she should take in. And so as I'm looking at her budget, I'm seeing that about $1,200 have been going towards a nonprofit that she never mentioned to me. So I was like, well, tell me about this. Because you know me, you want a house, you got to cut some of this money. $1,200, come on now. And she lives on the East Coast. It's expensive. I was like, cut. And then as she started talking, it was like she lit up, because at first she was like, oh my God, this is so daunting. It's so depressing. Can we break this up into multiple clauses? I had 3 conversations with her for 1 consultation because it was just too much pressure. But when I got her talking about this association, this nonprofit that she was involved in, OMG, talk about lighten up. So then I realized, okay, this is where your value lies. This is where you want to direct your purpose. Because she was like, under no circumstances, don't touch this. So I started asking her about home ownership. Do you really want this? Why are you going for the home? Well, I figured I'm almost 40. I should have a house. If you don't want it, you don't want it. If your values and your purpose is more focused towards something that's kind of out of the norm, do what makes you happy. Remember, as the CEO of your company, of your household, your happiness, your contentment, that's more important. Your values support that, and then you set goals to bring it to fruition. Okay? So don't set your values and your goals based on what you think you should have. That should never be the case. So really think about what your values are. So I love to hear, especially from Natasha and Miss Green, since she's the CEO of Green Enterprises, Miss Jeter, what are some of your values? Let's break it out. Let's do values first. What do you think? And I'll name them again. Peace of mind, happiness, freedom, security, power, making a difference. That was a client that I just wrote about. Thank you. Butterfly kisses. I love that. Growth, creativity, adventure. I have someone who travels all over the place because that's him. That's what he wants to do. And he makes sure his budget allows him to do that. Security. Girl, you must be under debt like I was. That was like number 1 for me. I was like, I don't ever want to owe anybody else again. So I will ride around in this older car, live in this 1,500 square foot house. It is mine, okay? And once I am done with Navy and honey, I don't know. I invest in real estate. So that's a real conflict. Peace. Yes, princess. Peace, peace, peace. Diane. Okay, diva. Diane. Oh, hi. I'm so crazy. Hey, Diane. I am so crazy. How are you? I didn't know. Making a difference. Oh, that is so awesome. So yes, these are your values. Okay. So now, what do you have to do to constantly grow power? Girl, you got a lot. Power in the workplace, improving family relationships. Oh, Miss Green, that is awesome. And interestingly enough, our values, there will be about 4 to 5 of them. There will be about 4 to 5 values. Like, for instance, mine, definitely a happy, long-lasting marriage, definitely kids, spending time with family and friends, financial security, peace of mind. That is everything. So you will have about 4 to 5 of them. Now, once you you probably can't do it now, but start breaking that value down and really visualizing what that means to you. What does this look like for me? Health and fitness too. Whew. Yeah, we working on that, girl. I know it should be on my top list, but I've been getting it in on a daily basis, but sister girl been lazy after the holidays. I'm doing a little week workouts, but yes, that is a great one, Miss Grant. That is a great one. And so now you want to break it down into little goals. And what does this really look like to me? So for instance, you talked about peace of mind. What does peace of mind leaving a legacy? Beautiful. What does that look like? What does leaving a legacy look like to you? How much do you feel that you should be leaving to your kids? Should you be leaving physical real estate? Should you be leaving trust funds? So really break that down. So once you write down what those mean to you, now you can say, okay, well, what can I do now? You start to rank them. What's more feasible for me to accomplish now? What can I get started with now? What changes can I make today? What can I implement this week? What can I implement this month? Or you can start from the goal if you can really identify, like if it's home ownership. Okay, home ownership. Okay, I know I want to live in this area. This is the area that I want. This is the price range that houses go for. This is probably the amount that I have to put down as a down payment, or these are the associations that I can kind of connect with in order to get a homeowner grant. This is how much I'll need for out-of-pocket expenses from a homeowner's insurance. We call those pre-closing payments. That's not the verbiage, but it's pretty much your out-of-pocket expenses. Thank you. So then you want to break it down. So real estate are giving her, oh, yes, 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 yes. However, this is the article that I was in with the New York Times, because parents were giving. And then when they looked at their own retirement, it was little. So definitely put a dollar amount to that. Definitely put a dollar amount. And I'll be watching the replay with my notebook. Thank you. And so that's what I mean by breaking down the goals so that you can eventually get to what can I accomplish. We're about to go to the new year in 2016. What can I accomplish in 2016? And so then let's say we gave the example of the house, splitting it up. This is how much I need for out-of-pocket expenses. Divide this by 12 or 6, whatever time frame, date stamp it, that you want to do your goal. And then now you're going to look at your budget. This is probably the most daunting part of it. So budget is pretty easy. It's adding and subtracting, right? So the math is pretty simple. It's the emotion tied to it, right? So now you want to get all of your income from all areas. Then you want to get all of your expenses. You know, for people who don't track their expenses, this takes a long time, I am finding. For most who are swipers, it's pretty easy because you can just get your statements and you kind of know your bills, and then it's all listed on your statements every month. But for those who are kind of cash people, that's when you kind of get that daily tracker and you have to really write down what your expenses are. And then eventually you will be subtracting them from your income. Now, this is where it happens. There's always a few emotions that you're going to have once you subtract from that income, right? Number 1, thank you for the hearts. Tap, tap, tap the screen if you love what I'm saying. That lets me know I'm on to something. So you will notice, am I close? Can I make this happen even sooner? So sometimes people get that subtraction. I'm like, wow, on paper, I am like the Ijnit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a lot of money. Then you start to thinking, where the heck is this money going? Like, what am I really spending it on? And so that's when you may want to really go back into your account. And that's when a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I spent so much going out with my girls. I spent so much, hey, Miss Frugal. I spent so much eating out. That was mine. And I'm still a foodie. Eating out, I spend too much on traveling, so much so that I thought I couldn't save, but I actually make some pretty doggone good money. Like, I should be able to do everything that I want within like the next 3 months if I really put my big girl panties on undies on and get to work, right? Other times, you will think, I am eating out is killing me. It killed me too, but I didn't eliminate it for long. I eliminated it to eventually get out of debt, and I'll talk about this, and then I brought it back in, but more in control, okay? Okay, budget is not all about lack, okay? You look really good on paper, girl. I look phenomenal on paper at one point in my life, and I was just like, man, have I wasted. Like, I'm telling you, young, no kids at the time, 6 figures, and I blew so much of that money being stupid. And I run into people of different age ranges, and this happens to them as well. So the thing is that you're knowing. You know the phrase, knowing is beautiful? It really is, because once you know, then you can do something about it. So we covered the person who's like, I should be able to get it done. And then you're going to have the person, no wonder the heck I can't get nothing done. No wonder I'm broke. I don't make enough money. Okay? Or I am way under debt. Like, I am really in debt. I got to get some things together. And so usually the people who realize they don't make enough to even cover the basics of basics, or what they feel are the basics, or the people who realize they have so much debt that they won't be able to accomplish their goal in the time frame that they want, they're going to have to kind of move some other things like debt load out the way before they can make this happen. That's when it gets depressing. However, Feel it and get moving. You got to feel it and get moving, because what's the other alternative? You're going to be exactly where you are, probably in the worst situation, because you haven't tackled it. So you have got to tackle it. You have got to tackle it. So here are the things because I always call the budget the revealer of money secrets, okay? So it's going to be whispering some things. Sometimes it'll be like, okay, well, you got it. You can do it. Let's, fix this. And then sometimes it's like, ooh, you got to get yourself together, sister. But tackle it with grace and speed, meaning that it's an educated spending plan that you're going to put in place, and tackle it with speed in the sense that you're not going to delay by being in a funk. You really got to feel the funk and keep it moving. And you will slip. Let me put this. It's just like with credit restoration. I always tell people, they think that if I send a letter, it's just going to instantly, magically disappear. But if you're a credit professional, a credit counselor, we use several different tactics, because not one works all the time. It's just like the advice that you get on budgets. You're going to see several different methods on making it happen. Not one is going to work all the time. The budget plan, the spending plan that you may map out for yourself, it may not work for you all the time. But you know what I found when the spending plan that people make don't fit them? You know what they do? They give up. No, you go back and you see what didn't work. Like the first budget I did, it just realistically didn't make sense. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to spend any money this whole month. It's just going to be a non-spending month. And if I can get through this month, and I'm going to do it for the rest of the year, so I can do X, Y, Z and this and this. And I realized I needed an outlet. Like I cannot. It's just like when I had a job. Like I was one of those employees where I had to take off a day a month. Like I had to. I could not work a full month. I could not work a full month because I would lose my mind. I had to take one day off a month. And it's just like with the budget. You're going to need something that gives you a little outlet. And so that's when you start ranking your priorities. So, okay. How many of you guys have heard of the 50-20-30 rule? You can put in 1 or yes or what have you. 50-20-30. So 1 yes, 2 no. And then I'll kind of let me know how... I guess deep I should get into it. Yes. Okay, cool. No. Okay, so I will go over it. So the 50-20-30. This pretty much is how you want to break up but ideally, okay? Ideally. And so just by going over this, like I couldn't do it all before. I couldn't do it initially because my debt wasn't set up like that. But it gave me something to eventually look forward to. So number 1, 50% should go towards your necessities. So necessities are typically housing, transportation, utilities, and groceries. If you have a medical condition, that's your necessity as well. So for us, it's our son's asthma medication, housing, utility expenses, groceries, transportation to and from work. So that should be 50% of your income. That's priority. Number 2, 20%. 20% savings, retirement. What else can be on there? It's usually saving, retirement, debt payments can go in the 20%. So that lets you know how short or low our debt load should be within that 20%. And then 30% goes to lifestyle choices. Interestingly enough, your cell phone falls into that 30%. A lot of people try to put that in that 50%. I'm like, no, that is a 30% expense. So examples of the 30%, cable, internet, cell phone plans, charity, believe it or not. Oh, for those who are my spiritual sisters, your tithing would go in the 50%. Gym fees is part of the 30%. Let me see. Kicking it. That's 30%. Notice the order I put that in. 50, 20, 30. I did not say 50, 30, 20. Why? Because once your main necessities are taken care of, then you should be thinking how you're going to invest that rest of that money. And I'll get on the savings at that point. And then the other stuff is other. It's choice. It's choice. Okay? Internet may not be as much choice because we do everything on the internet. But we should start looking at our cell phone plans. We should start looking at our internet choices. We should start looking at our cable choices, at our gym fees, and really looking at how we can minimize some of that stuff so that we can gear those finances towards the things that we really love to do, the things that feed into our goals, the thing that's going to get us close to really fulfilling our purpose, our values, right? So let's say you write your money, your everything down, and you have all of your living expenses, and you're like, okay, well, I'm doing okay, but I have no savings. Or, oh my gosh, I'm really stressed out, but I don't have anything saved. The number one thing I always recommend is paying yourself first. I don't care. I make the worst. I make the rest of it work. And I did this in the brokest of the brokest. Now, did I save much at first? No, at one point I could only save like $25 every 2 weeks. That's it. Because my debt was so big that I really just had to get that off of me because it was weighing me down and making me feel kind of funny. And on top of that, I was doing real estate and working a job full time and going to school full time. And I just had a baby. My husband was going to working full time, going to school full time. So we were both kind of at it. And the most that we were willing to spare, like when a closing check came in, great. Okay, I can get off a little more chunk than that. But our regular 9 to 5, like $25 was it. We had to hit those expenses big time. And so when you think about saving, people are like, oh, I definitely need to save this $1,000. And it looks like huge, but initially you just want to get in the habit. And I'm telling you, I start my clients off with those small amounts. And as they start seeing that little money build up, it's like, oh my gosh. It gets them excited, even when they see something like as little as $150 in there, because before they weren't even getting that. And I'm not going to lie and tell you that when you start paying yourself first, that you're not going to feel a little pinch at first. You will feel it. I'll never forget the first time, I think like $60 was missing because I started doing a percentage to retirement, and then, eventually have moved up to like $100 per check. Oh my gosh, they were like $160 was like, oh, wow. And I mean like, net what I brought home. That was like what was the deficit out of there. And I was like, oh, got a little heart palpitations, honey. I almost reduced that stuff and took it right back. But I had to keep on track in order for it to come. Why? Because my money value is to be debt free and have financial peace of mind. Financial peace of mind is value. Debt free is the goal. Financial peace of mind is the value. Debt free is the goal. Get out of debt. So one of the things I like to bring up is, what if you do not make enough money? What then? I've been there too. So what happens then? And so that's when you get your side hustle. You got to change the income. You have got to improve the income. You are the CEO. So if there's not enough income coming in for you to maintain profitability, then you need to either acquire the skill or you need to use your current skills in order to bump up that income. In the interim, there are always ways to make money. Always ways to mystery shopping, focus groups, couponing to reduce your current expenses. I am a huge meal planner that actually saves me more money than couponing did. Probably because I never liked couponing though. Like I was never, oh my gosh, me and couponing, that's a whole nother scope, honey. Reducing current expenses. I am the queen of settling. I know as a credit counselor that settling debts is not great. However, this is one of those circumstances when you really, hi, Miss Ebony, when you really have to put money before credit. And so since my value is financial security, I had to put my money goals and frame that up before I can think about building a credit score. And in some cases, the things that we do that free up the money and feed into our personal goal of being debt free, that feed into our values of financial security, is going to be in direct, I shouldn't say competition, but kind of totally negative and not good for our credit score. For instance, settling debt. But I knew for me, in order for Nativa to be happy, in order for Nativa to wake up and exhale, that debt had to go by any means necessary. So in some cases, despite the credit score and how settled debt looks on a credit score, you will settle it because it feeds into your money value. It accomplishes your goal or gets you closer to accomplishing your total goal. I still have student loans, honey. These student loans, baby. And I only talk about mine. I never talk about my husband's because I'm banned. But together, we do owe almost 6 figures. But we have paid off quite a bit. Like, quite a bit. I won't tell you his. I tell you I paid off 70, 89, 100, about a little under 60. That's a lot for me. So that's how much we've paid off since then. But I wanted to say this because we talked about boosting income and ways to do that, using or acquiring your current talents. Actually, let me expand on that. A lot of people, when I tell them that we need to find ways to bring in additional income, they start thinking about things that cost more money. I'm going to sell Mary Kay. I'm like, well, we need money like within the next 30 days. So when it comes to the point where you need to make money, I want you to think that somebody has placed you in a totally new town and you have to survive financially. What would you do? What skills do you currently have to monetize and make you some money? When that was presented to me, the first thing I said, well, I know I can sell. Been in real estate forever. I've had other, entrepreneurial endeavors. It's like, I know I can sell. What do I currently sell now? I sell real estate. As a realtor, what skills do I possess? Well, I know about credit. I know about the short sale industry that was huge back then. I was definitely a short sale specialist. I know all about the short sale and foreclosure process and how they have to. I was working with a lot of banks at the time. What could I monetize? Broker price opinions, attorneys who were doing bankruptcy and had to do those marketing analysis. I did that and made money off of that. Credit, that's how I got into the credit industry. So looking at the skills you have, see what you can monetize right away without having to invest in something that may take you a while to kind of get the wheels spinning. Like a lot of people think, okay, well, I need to make some more money. Let me start a business. Business is hard work, honey. Business is hard work. This is why we call it a hustle. Not the business part, but a side hustle, because it's something that can be monetized right away. Okay? So we talked about cutbacks in the expenses in that area and making sure that your finances are geared towards supporting your goals. We talked about bringing up that money when in the case you're not solvent, okay? And you want to be more profitable so that you can not only meet your basic expenses, but you can also start utilizing some money for that 20%, that savings and retirement, the investments, getting out of debt, and also so that you can get to your happy. Because all of those values, that's what makes you content. That's what makes you happy. And so this is how a boss thinks, okay? So I'm not going to lie, because I saw some actually I'm working with a couple people on their budget, and they always tell me, I just don't know, I just feel like giving up. Like, what are you giving up? Like, do you guys know what giving up means? Tell me what giving up means. What does giving up look like to you? Because to me, it didn't look good. Like, giving up was not an option. So I just want to hear what giving up looks like to you. Or how about, is giving up an option for you? Let me know that. Failure. Thank you. Failure. That's a horrible feeling. Failure. Oh my God, doing nothing. Right. And then insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. How many people have done that? I have. I've done it before. I am proud to say Nativa is sane as of today. I am proud to say I am sane. It's not an option. You're right. It is not an option. And I'm going to go spiritual, you guys. So I hope nobody gets offended. But usually when I talk to some of my clients, they praise God for their successes, their wins. And then when they're experiencing setbacks, not changing your right, yes, when they're experiencing their setbacks, it's like, oh, I don't know why I'm going through this. I'm praying, nothing's happening. I'm just going to give it up to God. I'm just going to give it up. I'm just let go and let God. What does let go mean? When I hear let go, I hear you are stopping what you are doing and you just expect God to just come in and say, let me handle this for you, Nativa. I'm just pick it up. Take care of this. No, you don't stop working, honey. You can have that faith. You can let go. You can keep searching for solutions, because while you're in solution mode, that's when God shows up. Hello? That's when he shows up. When you have not given up, but you are still seeking solutions so that you can cross over this hump. Hi, you back, huh? Hello. So that's when God shows up. You cannot be so focused on this temporary situation that you fail to start seeking for solutions. I quote TD Jakes all the time. We make permanent decisions based off of temporary situations. So whenever I hear, oh, the payday loan, oh, the title loan, like you're setting yourself in a real jacked up long-term situation to resolve something that's happening right now. Right now. No. And remember, I gave you the order, 50, 20, 30. 50, 20, 30. Let me show you something else that I have personally done so I can relate this. I'm telling you, if I hadn't went through this, I don't think I would ever be able to relate to my clients, because when I did this before I went through anything, I used to be like, how you dump a hand, go and get a payday loan? Boy, talk about humility, okay? Your struggle will teach you some things, but the things that, what was that? We have to remember we are co-creators. Amen. The 50-20-30. 50% is your main necessities, household, transportation, utilities, housing expenses, all that. The 20 is your savings, your debt load, your retirement, and your 30% is lifestyle choices. That's cell phone, internet, gym fees. What else could it be? In kicking it, like it's your lifestyle choices, and you can change that however you want with the as far as the 20 and 30, as long as it's in favor of the other two, the 50 and the 20. So what some people do, and like I said, I went through this before, is they will allow somebody within that 30% to kind of creep up and become now a necessity. I'll give you an example. I've mentioned this when I've talked about collections and when I've talked about medical debts and things of that sort. So we allow something like a collection to say, well, you have to pay this now. You know, they're really good. We're trained to, well, I used to be a collector, trained to hit those psychological points so that now you allow that connection to creep up. The collection has now creeped up and you are starting to view it as a necessity. No, it's still part of that 20%. You don't sacrifice no housing, your transportation, your utilities, and all that to come and pay off somebody who's kind of lower on the list. Nobody creeps up that list, okay? Nobody creeps up that list. Remember that. Another thing with the 50%, that doesn't mean that you can't cut things within the 50% or reduce, I should say, reduce it. For instance, groceries is part of 50%, but there's still some great ways that you can save on groceries. One of my favorite sites is Growing Slowly Cheap Eats. I got a slew of budget sites on that. So those are just some of the, so you can still cut some things on that. Buy your car cash. You know how much you're going to need within the next, I know we'll probably need a car within the next 3 years. We're saving up for that now so we can just drop cash on it. Seeing if you can get your credit up so you can reduce those monthly payments so they can now be super low. Housing, determining, okay, can I save up 20% so that my interest rate can be, you know, super low. So things within your 50%, they're not sketched in stone as far as their actual dollar amount. You can still work on reducing those as well. And you should definitely try to beef up, like we're 50, 30, 20, and where 30% of our income is going towards savings, getting out of these student loans. And in some cases, it is more than that. In some cases, it's more than that. So I definitely want you to tackle it with confidence. And it is not, I'll repeat this again, it will not work the first time. It may not work the first 3 times. Budgeting, my budget didn't get right for me until maybe about 6 months. I tweaked the heck out of it. And be easy on yourself. You're going to fall off your budget sometimes. I just fell off mine in August. I fell off, but I got back on because once you establish those values, once you really know, once it becomes real to you, and this is where vision boards come in, positive affirmation, all of these supports what's intrinsically valuable or your purpose. All of that supports that. And so you're going to fall off sometimes. I mean, you're going to have a sale and want to get buck wild. For me, it was a travel. I mean, I couldn't pass up this deal in my head. So I went for it, and then I was like, oh my God, it's finally really hot outside. Like, we got 45, like, I don't know if you guys are from cold weather state, but in Chicago, we get hopefully 90, but this summer we got like maybe 40 days of really, really, really hot summer weather, and I was in love. I was like, honey, I'm about to enjoy the rest of these 40 days, okay? And it wasn't even the last 40. It was maybe about 35 good, hot days, and I lived it up. And did it take me a while to get back on track? Yes, it took me till about September. To get right back on track. And that's because in my head, it becomes uncomfortable once you really get on point with what you're working towards. It becomes uncomfortable for you to stay down the wrong path too long because you have a vision now. Just like a company has a vision statement, a mission statement, go ahead and write that down for yourself. We have ours posted. The Herd Enterprise mission statement. It is posted, okay? And this is what we're working towards. Now, does budget equal no fun? Absolutely not. Budgeting isn't lack of. Budgeting keeps you focused, okay? It keeps you focused. Now, as Dave Ramsey says, you're able to tell your money where to go instead of saying, where did it go? Right? And the main thing to budget like a boss and think like a boss is to remember that the budget is equates to freedom, and it's all about dream and purpose focus. You're not budgeting the money. You are supporting and you are driving it to fulfill your purpose, your true value. So that's the thing. They were talking about that on Mary Jane last night, mission statement for you. Oh, were they? I missed it. I missed Mary Jane, but that's so epic. Actually, Mary Jane had another great tip. The last one I saw when she said, go ahead and get it. You deserve it, says the 80% of Americans in debt. I was like, yep, that's an entitlement spending. Me and my husband went through a lot on that. I could do a whole scope. I'm trying to get both of us on the same page. Maybe I will. Maybe he's like, I'm going to have to get on scope with you. You're always talking about me. I'm like, nah, you don't need to get on here with me. We don't need to hear you. We don't need to hear that. But, yes, entitlement spending is a big one, and your mission statement is so epic because it is something that you really sit down and ponder over. You can involve the kids in. And speaking of kids, I have noticed a lot of my clients who are really, really, really thinking that their kids need all of this name brand and fancy smancy stuff. And please stop spending on all this unnecessary just because they have a name brand on them. No, 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 no. Your kids need more of you. Your quality time, your love. Yes, they're expensive, honey. I'm not going to front on that. But they do not need all of this unnecessary name brand stuff. Like these kids in line for the Jordan. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I'm like, how many of these kids have a savings account? How many of these kids have are saving in a 529 for their college or working towards that? Now, if you have the money, meaning that you are extra profitable, then of course you can do that. Of course, I mean, you have that. Like, you can't compare somebody who makes like $300,000 a year to somebody who makes like 60. Is 60 still a decent income? Absolutely. Well, depending on where you live. California, I've heard it's not that great. New York, I've heard 60,000 is not that great. But overall, in most states, 60,000 is decent. But you can't compare your 60,000 to a 300,000. What they can do for theirs, for themselves, we can't do that. I'm not at $300,000 a year, okay? So I have friends who are making quite a bit of money, and they're always whisking out, oh, you want to come with us here? I'm like, no, because I have to stay in my, in my lane. Let's say it's 60,000. I have to stay in my $60,000 lane. Can I still have a great, awesome life as I build up other streams of income, as I become more financially secure? Absolutely. I travel my behind off, honey. So you can still have a great life. Now it's directing it. And so that's what I mean by your purpose, your goals, and establishing those priorities. Like, for instance, my loves, the things that I love to do I am a traveling fanatic. So you've already gotten some of my top ones. Financial peace of mind, financial security, family, friends, spending time with my loved ones. I'm a foodie. Okay, like I love to try different types of restaurants, cultural experiences, and I love to travel. So all of my budget is geared towards all of that. So as soon as I was able to release that debt, now I can focus on what I want to do. Now, can I go to all of them? Heck no. Do I wish I can? Sure do. I love to slap, be irresponsible to tell. I shouldn't say I love, but it's so easy to say, oh my God, look at this deal to Paris. Oh, I got an $8,000 Capital One that just love to book this for me. But no, why? Because my intrinsic value is I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to have to pay that Capital One card back. No. It is more daunting for me to pay that credit card than it is to whisk off, enjoy it, and then have to worry about paying it off. And God forbid, like what happened to me, if something happens, like right now everything's on and popping, and then something happens, that income is pulled from under you, and then you're like, okay, I have no income. I've had this bomb trip, or something happened with the income. I had this bomb trip, but now I got this debt. Like, I want to go free. This trip is paid for. I got the money, okay, and now I can have a really good time knowing that when I got back, I'm still on point. So that's budgeting like the boss. You are the boss of your financial household. Keep yourself profitable. Keep those expenses low. You always want more money on the income side than the expenses side. Definitely prioritize your spending so that you are constantly feeding it, okay? Feeding your purpose, feeding your goal. That's the beauty of budgeting. That whole cut this, cut that, minimal lifestyle, sucks. No. Absolutely not. Like, whenever I hear somebody say, how long should I cut stuff? Like, how budgeting ain't about cutting, honey. Budgeting is goal-centered. Budgeting is about your purpose, about your values, about your dreams. That's the beauty of budget. That's how you budget like a boss. All that other cut. Don't live this. Don't go to the movies. Netflix has everything. Crap. No. No. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the scope. It will be on YouTube. I'll probably put it on there over the weekend, so it'll be, available. And if you guys have any questions, you can always email me, info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. If you need assistance, email me as well. Like I said, I help people destroy their debts, grow their money, and soar those credit scores. So this was a little out the box. Usually I'm all credit. So how'd you guys enjoy it? You guys want me to do some more of this good stuff? Because I could talk about budgets all day. Budget and credit, actually. Those are two of my loves. So I could definitely do some of this all day. So just give me some feedback. Shoot me an email. I love to hear. Love to. Oh, thank you. I love to hear some of the more things that you like me to scope about. This was actually a request from somebody that I assisted. And she was like, okay, I think I got it. She just scheduled a consultation with me. And she was like, I think I'm on point. But if you could do a scope about it. Thank you guys so much. Awesome. We're going to have to talk some more about budgets. And like I said, you got a specific about budgets or another topic, just shoot me an email, info@mnhcreditsolutions.com. This Friday, we're going to talk about, is credit repair a scam? Whew, that topic, honey. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you. We're going to talk about that this Friday at 12 o'clock Central. Have a great evening. Bye, guys.